instead of going back and forth to the shop,
Yep.
you can fill right from there and have all of your material ready before the next snow event occurs.
But it's 77% water, it's 23% salt. So by having a bulk salt pile on site, or whether you have a tank that has a mix of water and salt, it's really the same thing, it's just in a different form. That has a cam lock on one end and a valve that connects to your sprayer. The other end has a cam lock, hooks up to your tank, and then it's a huge cost savings to scale that storage in bulk silos in liquid storage tanks instead of having to build salt bins on all those sites.
Awesome. I mean, I'm just soaking this stuff in. All right, guys, we are at VSI right now, and we are going to show you how to set up a remote operation. So if you don't have a phenomenal indoor shop like Jordan has here at VSI, you have options. You guys are familiar with the old salt bunkers, and you put the hoop tarp over it and all of that. Well, when you have liquid brine, it's kind of a different setup. We're going to show you exactly how these guys do it, because they have remote setups at their facility, because they don't do everything indoors. So Jordan, is it safe to say that what you have set up outside of your shop would be the same as what you would set up at a remote location?
So this would be a pretty advanced or large site setup because there's multiple tanks. So this tank farm actually has two different elements. We have our 5,000 gallon tanks with bulk brine, and then our smaller 3,000 gallon tanks are our additive in this case. You wouldn't typically probably set up 5 tanks on a remote site, but we can represent the same idea as we can on a remote site. Typically on a remote site, you're gonna have 1 or 2 tanks, maybe one tank with additive, one with brine, or just a single tank that has mixed brine already in it. But the main point is, the beauty of liquids is the scalability. So it's super easy to purchase and to move a 5,000 gallon storage tank. You literally fork it onto a trailer, bring it to a site, roll it off, set it up, hook up your valve, and you can refill the tank or fill from the tank with your VSI sprayer. Or in our case, because we use so much brine, we hire a tanker truck to transport brine from our shop here in Madison Lake to our sites in Mankato.
This is for finished product, so we're not pumping it, we're not mixing it. All we're doing is storing it so that we can back up and save the 20-minute drive, or if you guys, however far away your furthest site is, instead of going back and forth to the shop,
Yep.
you can fill right from there and have all of your material ready before the next snow event occurs.
So this would be really applicable, like if you're a contractor that currently has remote salt storage, so let's say you have a big job site, a 2 million square foot distribution site, and you have a salt bin on site.
Like one of those.
Like one of those.
Let's walk over here. Talk to me
Yeah.
while we walk. So this is what you're gonna have, pretty typical if you're doing rock salt on a site, right? I mean, this is a high-end operation right here, right?
So this one's just a storage container. Keep our salt in here, so you'll see this on site sometimes. The downside to this setup is, in order to fill it, you need to have either a slinger truck deliver the salt, or you have to have a skid steer on site to shovel all the salt into the bin.
And then shovel it out.
Correct.
Okay.
So more typically what we'll see is an open bin with bunker blocks and then a hoop over top.
Yep.
And that's what's gonna sit on site. And the point is that that's fairly costly, and it takes a lot of time to set up. Whereas if you were to set a storage tank on site, or even 2 or 3 or 4 storage tanks on site, you literally set the tanks down, you put the valves on, and you're ready to go.
What about contamination issues? Having a big giant storage tank, does that draw red flags and make people go, whoa, 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 what is going on here, versus something like this that they're just more accustomed to seeing?
Yeah.
They've been trained to see this. They're not trained to see some giant big looking chemical tanks and have people worried about what's going into Mother Nature's ground system.
Yep, so keep in mind that salt brine is 77% water. So what we're putting on site is a tank. Yes, it looks different. You have to educate your clients on what it is, but it's 77% water, it's 23% salt. So by having a bulk salt pile on site, or whether you have a tank that has a mix of water and salt, it's really the same thing, it's just in a different form. So a lot of that comes down to education. There are certain municipalities in certain states that may require containment of that product. I can't speak to the laws in every area, but check your own local laws to know what
But wouldn't it be, it would be no different. I guess the real point is it's just about rethinking things, because you're actually storing a lot less salt on site.
Right.
Because brine is almost 30% salt versus 70% more salt for rock salt, right? Correct. So you're actually storing a lot less. It's a lot safer to have something like this there. But I wanted to address that because that could be a viable thing that guys are running into.
Right.
But now, one tank, can a guy start with one single tank, Jordan?
Yep. One tank would be typical. This, like I said, this would be atypical. This is actually at our main facility here. This is our overflow storage. We actually have our brine maker plumbed underground to these tanks. But a much more applicable setting for a job site would just be to take a single 5,000 gallon tank, set it on site, possibly put some bollards around it to protect it from impact from vehicles or trailers, and then you just have your fill hose. So fill hose, I'll grab one here, very simple. It's just a hose that has a cam lock on one end and a valve that connects to your sprayer. The other end has a cam lock, hooks up to your tank. In order to refill your system, you don't need an auxiliary pump, you don't need electricity. You literally hook up your cam lock to the storage tank, hook up your cam lock to your sprayer, open the valves, turn on the engine, and self-fill the sprayer that way.
So in this case, your sprayer will fill your bulk tank.
Correct.
How do you get it from the bulk tank back into your sprayer?
Yep, so it goes both ways. Let's look at the sprayer real quick. So on our VSI legacy sprayers, we have a suction valve and we have a pump out valve. So depending on which one of these we hook the hose up to, the liquid's either gonna pull in or it's gonna pump out. That's why we don't need an auxiliary pump. That's why we don't need electricity. We literally just hook up a hose to the sprayer on this end, to the tank on that end, open some valves, turn on the engine, and it will self-fill. If we were wanting to fill our tank from our sprayer, we'd hook the hose up to this one, open this, open the tank on the valve, and pump out of the sprayer into the tank. So you can go either way, all with the same system.
Is that always on these?
Always on these, yes.
Okay, so it's not like it's an option, not like you got to make sure you ask for it specifically. It's just right straight there.
Every single VSI by Boss legacy sprayer has self-fill and pump out features as standard.
And then the benefit of having a remote storage tank is when it's not snowing, you can be making brine, you can be filling it, you can be prepping, you can be getting this ready for the next snow event.
That's correct. Yep, it's a lot of those downtime hours that you can fill with that type of work.
What else do we need to know about a remote storage tank like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is just building your routes efficiently. So not every contractor is going to have a situation where this is applicable, but we work with contractors all over the country. And some of these guys, they have their home base in one city and they work in a 100-mile radius, right? So they're making all their brine at home base. They're serving a 100-mile radius. A lot of them are doing these big distribution type sites that might use 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 gallons per event. Having that liquid stored on site is huge because you save so much labor compared to driving all the way back to home base, especially if it's a 100-mile radius. Again, that's not applicable to everyone, but for contractors where it is, it's a huge, huge labor savings, and then it's a huge cost savings to scale that storage in bulk silos in liquid storage tanks instead of having to build salt bins on all those sites.
Awesome. I mean, I'm just soaking this stuff in.
Yeah, that's all good.
I mean, because off camera, Jordan, you told me that you actually have gone and visited over 1,000 contractors and helped them dial in their snowplow operations, right? So this is nothing new to you. This isn't just a single operation and this is how you do it best. You've actually done this time and time again for over 1,000 different contractors throughout the nation.
That's correct. Yeah, so over the course of the last 10 years, we visited all these guys. We've helped them set up the right operation for them. The right operation for you as a contractor, A, will be different than contractor B, then it'll be different than contractor C. You always are assessing what makes sense for you. The punchline is that liquid is scalable for any size operation, whether you have one truck, whether you just have a sidewalk crew, whether you have 300 trucks. There's always a use where brine is a great tool for your toolbox to make you more efficient as a contractor and to help you sell more sites and retain your clients.
Did we cover it all?
I think we did.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to say is a big thank you for letting us come out here and invade your space.
I love it.
Thank you for showing us how a small operation works. Go back to video 1. Thank you for showing us how you set up an operation for a larger scale. Then we went through all of the numbers, and now we're showing you what a remote operation looks like. And we also have a video out last year that we did. Of course, Jordan didn't look even close to being the same this year as he lost a second Jordan.
lost a little bit of weight.
180 pounds in the last 17 months.
130.
130. All right. So if he looks a little different, trust me, it's the same guy, same numbers. But a big thank you for sharing all of this with us, and I hope that's worth a thumbs up to you guys. But you actually have your own catalog of videos, and you also have training and education and reference materials for these guys. Where do they find that at?
Yeah, if you go to bossplow.com/elevate your liquid IQ, we have a ton of resources on there. Also check out the Boss YouTube channel or the Legacy VSI by Boss YouTube channel. Tons of educational content, tons of information, and again, we're contractors, guys. We love talking to you. Give our office a call. Love to chat with you about your snow operation and what the right setup for you is.
And that's it for this one. God bless. Go get him, you guys. We'll see you on the next one.